Welcome to the Irish Football Weekly Show with your host, Josh Benjamin. Co-host is Tony Hunter. Tony, how you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing just fine, Josh. Doing just fine. We had a tough game against Michigan State at home.
Yes, we did. We'll get to that in just a second. Any listeners out there, all listeners, you can catch us on the gruelingtruth.net website, also on Stitcher, Spreaker, Google Music, iTunes, and iHeartRadio. Okay. As Tony alluded to, we did have a tough loss this past weekend, 36-28 loss against Michigan State at home, unfortunately. Tony, you want to talk about some things, some stats you said you mentioned prior to our show that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to say I thought we showed a lot of Notre Dame fight in that second half. So I want to give credit to us for coming out, and we actually almost pulled that game off, but we showed a lot of fight in that game, and I was glad to see it.
Yes, we did, and we kind of fell short. Obviously in the second half, losing by 8, and kind of started a little late on that run, don't you think?
Yeah, I think we did. They really controlled the game. Time of possession, they controlled the game. Pretty much I thought they ran it down our throats at home, which is unusual at Notre Dame. You know, that Notre Dame spirit, when we play at home, we expect to win, and at one point it looked like Michigan State was really manhandling us, and I was kind of surprised by that. But it was really pleasant to see the offense come out in that second half and make a game out of it and almost pull it off. And the defense actually shut Michigan State out in the fourth quarter. So that's a positive that we have to hold on to as we go on into the season.
Absolutely. And something that you talked about at the very beginning there about the rushing attack of Michigan State and how they pretty much pounded us away on the ground, and they ended up having 260 rushing yards, and they averaged 5 yards a rush. That's obviously not a good recipe for success for that defense. They had a total of over 500 yards in total offense, similar to what Texas did to us in the first game. So, you know, I know they alluded to the defense stepping up in the fourth quarter when it really mattered, to be honest with you, and I was pretty impressed with their performance in the fourth quarter, buckling down. And I think they finally kind of came together. When we talked about the defense last week, Tony, we said that, you know, they plugged in some different players in different spots, and they kind of meshed well together finally with those movements in the secondary and also the linebacker spots, and they kind of helped each other out a little bit.
Yeah. You know what? As I looked at the stats, and just to go over a few of them, I see that total yards, Michigan State had 501, Notre Dame had 401. Passing yards, they had 241. We had 344, which is good. As far as passing completions and attempts, Michigan State was 19 of 26, and we were 20 of 37. So they averaged 9.3, and so did we. Kaiser threw one interception, and so did Michigan State. Now, as far as rushing is concerned, I think that's where we really need to improve defensively. They actually had 260 yards rushing on 52 attempts, and that averaged out to be 5.0 yards per carry. That's a lot. When you're giving up 5 yards a carry on defense, that is a lot. That's going to let them hold the ball an awful long time, and that's going to wear down your defense. And on the other hand, we rushed for 57 yards on 25 rushing attempts. We only averaged 2.3 yards a carry. That's not good.
Yeah, I agree, and that's a tribute to a couple different things. First off, our lack of rushing. So our offensive line kind of took a step back, literally, in that attack. And give kudos to that defense in Michigan State and Coach Antonio that they shut us down pretty good. And we knew that was coming. And we just
we only had 25 rushing attempts, but we were behind, so we had to throw the football. And I just want to say, I thought Kaiser played with a lot of determination in that game. I thought he went out there and tried to win that game in that second half. And I think he's a much better quarterback now than he was last year. And I think a lot of it has to do with the competition that he had to endure during the preseason, during the summer, where he had to fight for his position. Competition is always a good thing in football.
Absolutely. And to kind of talk about Deshaun Kaiser for a second, it seems like every week when we get a chance to talk Irish football, it seems like we have nothing but good things to say about him. He, if I checked correctly, I think he's 12th in the nation in quarterback efficiency, passing efficiency, I should say. And so he's up there, and he's getting noticed, and people are talking about him. I heard some guys on some different radio shows talking about how he just looks like a quarterback, how he acts, and we talked about those intangibles a little bit in the last couple of weeks, so I'm not going to bore our listeners, but he's a great player, and he makes people around him better, whoever that is, the receivers, the running backs, tight ends, even the offensive linemen. So he definitely he did his job for the most part on Saturday. They had 3 turnovers, and 2 of them were pretty close to each other in time. The one on the punt that hit, I can't remember who it was now, but hit someone on the way down. And then Michigan State got the ball and then immediately threw a touchdown pass right after that. And then Michigan gets the ball back, and they throw a pass to C.J. Sanders. He tries to grab some extra yards, gets the ball stripped, and Michigan State has the ball again. And so, those momentum plays, we even talked about that last week, Tony. We said a couple things about big momentum plays and changes of offense, defense, and so on. And it was actually the other way around. And one of the things, and I'll let you talk in just a second, is I said we needed to start fast. And boy, did we start fast. We had C.J. Sanders on a kickoff return for a touchdown.
It looked great. Yeah. We jumped in at 7-zip.
Yeah. And then the flag came out. And so it really hurt us momentum-wise, I thought, not necessarily for the whole game, but I think we wanted to get to a fast start. And we started to. We had it right there. We had the touchdown, return for a touchdown on the opening kickoff, and then got pulled back. So anyway, I thought that was really important.
And speaking of the penalties, Michigan State had 3 penalties for 45 yards. We had 4 penalties for 51 yards. We lost 2 fumbles. Michigan State didn't fumble. And Kaiser had 1 interception. Michigan State had 1 interception. But I think the glaring stat that I'm looking at right now is that time of possession. Michigan State had the ball for almost 38 minutes, and we only had it for 22 minutes, which means that defense was on the field for a long time.
That is right. That's over a quarter, isn't it? A whole quarter between the time?
That would be tough for any defense to stand up against for a whole football game. And they were running the football too. They were successful running the football. So I'm just wondering what we need to do defensively to stop the run. And I'm going to be honest, I don't see that dominant defensive interior lineman that I've seen the last few years at Notre Dame. I'm not seeing that play right now. A lot of those guys are in the NFL right now, and they're playing. But teams are able to run the football against us, and I think we're getting pretty good linebacker play. But if you don't have your defensive linemen in there and causing havoc and causing them to pay more attention to the D-line, having the offensive line paying more attention to the D-line, then then the linebackers can't be free to make tackles. And I think that's what's happening right now. I think our linebackers are being tied up with their linemen, and it's stopping us from making tackles.
I am so glad you talked about the interior line on the defense because I have a little bit of insider info on what their job is on defense, and this source I don't want to say, it's an unknown source, but they were telling me over the weekend we were watching a game together, and this person said that they were told by one of the players on the defense that their job, that interior lineman on defense, is supposed to essentially stalemate at the line of scrimmage. And
yes.
Play a two-gap defense, so they take up both A gaps so that the linebackers can flow left and right. Now,
exactly.
I don't know how I feel about that because, correct me if I'm wrong, Tony, if there's a player that can be dominant, can be very good at certain techniques, you let them be good at certain techniques. Am I wrong?
Oh, absolutely. If you have a player that does a certain thing well, then you want to capitalize on that, and you want to put that in your game plan and let him do the things that he does well offensively. That's what the great offensive coordinators always did. If they saw that you did something well, they incorporated it into the game plan.
Okay, so along with that, I kind of disagree with what they're doing with their interior defensive linemen. If they're telling their linemen, which, like I said, I have a pretty good source that I have spoken to that says that their interior defensive linemen are supposed to essentially stalemate at the line of scrimmage and take up two gaps, that's not playing to their strengths. There are a couple defensive linemen that rotate in there that can get to the passer, that can disrupt the backfield when it's a running play. And they're not told to do that. They're told to essentially be guys that stay at the line of scrimmage and make sure that no one can get to the linebackers or they take the two A gaps. And I don't know if I agree with that. I'm not saying that's the end of be all when it comes to the mistakes on the defense, because it's not.
Yeah.
But I think it's something, Tony. I think it's something, and I'm a little concerned with that because are we playing to the best of our actual ability that we have on the field? That's my question.
I wonder about that too. And like I said, I think the guys are out there to give an effort. No question about it. They're giving effort. But I don't see the dominance along that defensive front that I've seen in the recent past for Notre Dame defensive linemen. And they just, offenses just, they pretty much, the quarterbacks, I can go back to that Texas game, the first game. I don't think that freshman quarterback was touched until the third quarter. His uniform looked like he had just walked out of the tunnel to start the game, and this was well into the third quarter. That's one thing that I noticed. And but I thought there was some improvement. I think they're trying to be creative on defense, and they're trying to use different schemes as far as blitzing, and which I think they're going to have to continue to do. Be creative, blitzing linebackers, blitzing corners and safeties and things like that in order to create a little havoc back there in that backfield and put some more pressure on the quarterback, because right now these offenses are just consuming way too much time with the ball.
To go along with that as well, Tony, if there was a stat that was more glaring than any other stat in football history, this defense, and going into its fourth game, has 0 sacks.
Wow. Well, I didn't know that. So that speaks for itself.
Absolutely. That has to be a sign to either the coordinator, the head coach, the players. Hey, guys, what are we doing? What are we doing on these pass plays? Or is our defense designed to not rush and to play coverage well? Is it to move the quarterback out of the pocket some side, or because when you have 0 sacks in 3 games, there's something that's mechanically, technique, scheme-wise, something's wrong, and that needs to be looked at this week before they.
I agree. Come up with some different schemes as far as ways of putting defensive guys in that backfield. Like I said, corner blitzes, safety blitzes, just mixing it up a little bit. But you have to be able to put pressure on that quarterback, or he's going to sit back there and have a field day, like they have been, like they've been doing.
Yeah, and so I'm looking for some even bigger steps and progress towards this defense. I know there's some young guys on the defense, and I know they're learning as they go along. And like you said earlier, like you were talking about the fourth quarter, they held them in check. And like I said, that they probably started to feel a little more comfortable with each other and
right.
role. So maybe this week's the full tilt, all out. Let's go out.
I hope so. I hope the fourth quarter of that Michigan State game is an indication of what's to come for our defense, because they shut them out. And we almost pulled that thing off. Another thing that I read that we just signed a 4-star defensive end, Donovan Jeter. He's committed out of Pennsylvania, which, as you know, Pennsylvania plays great high school football. So Donovan Jeter has committed to Notre Dame. We could use him right now.
That's good to know. They might do that. You might get him in there and get his jersey on, get him in there in the rotations. But that's definitely great to know. And I know Coach Kelly and that staff do a good job of recruiting with the different position groups. Going along with the defense, Tony, last week I had mentioned a little bit about third down conversions and how that was crucial for this week.
Yeah.
I'm going to give our offensive third down conversions, and I'm also going to give the offense from Michigan State as well. This week, our offense was 4 of 11 in third down conversions, so roughly 30%. Wow.
That's not good.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, I agree. That's not very good at all. But Michigan State was at 50% with 9 of 18, and
wow.
Yeah, they were 3 for 3 in the red zone too, which.
Wow, that's pretty effective.
Yeah, that makes this year against the Irish in the red zone, 92% in the red zone.
Oh, goodness. Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah. So, going along, I know we talked a bunch about the negative things, I guess, of the defense, but that fourth quarter, Evan Setzer had an interception early on. I mean, we felt somewhat okay leaving that game with that defense. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I felt a lot better. I was encouraged with their ability to shut Michigan State out in that fourth quarter while we were trying to come back and win. I tell you, I was really impressed with that. I was encouraged with it. So hopefully we'll keep that going.
Yeah, and if we look at some other different things, it was 15-7 at halftime, and then we gave up 3 touchdowns in the third quarter to make it 36 for Michigan State. So all in all, they probably played over a quarter, 2 quarters maybe of pretty decent defensive football. It's just when you have a quarter that's so terrible, I guess, lack of a better word, terrible.
Oh, man, I felt hopeless at that time. I remember that time in the game when they went up with that 36 points. I said, man, oh, man, we're playing at home, and they're manhandling us. That's not Notre Dame. That's not Notre Dame. But then they came back out in that fourth quarter, and they fought. And I hope they continue to fight the way they did in that fourth quarter, because that's Notre Dame football. That's Notre Dame football.
I agree. And if I'm the defensive coordinator, if I'm Coach Kelly, I'm going to talk about the third quarter a little bit, but I'm going to throw that film out and say we did get better this week. The points
right.
Say it because we had a terrible quarter, and maybe the rushing yards aren't as great either, but overall, maybe 2.5 quarters weren't weren't bad at all. And so hopefully this week, going into this Duke game at home, they'll be able to kind of mesh even more together as they practice together this week. So
yeah. There's still a lot of football to be played, Josh. There's still a lot to be played, and that fourth quarter is a good thing to hang your hat on and say, look, we can play this kind of football against a good football team. Michigan State was a good football team. I think they moved up in the polls this week, and so that was a good team. And we had a strong showing in that fourth quarter, so let's build off of that and go from there.
They did, and to have them move up, and actually Notre Dame moves out of the top 25 for whatever reason, obviously because of the loss, I'm assuming. But the fact that they did come back and it was a one-score game, and really, talking about the game a little bit even more in the fourth quarter, I was in a little disarray with Coach Kelly's call to punt the football instead of going for it. They had 2 timeouts left. There was about 2.5 minutes, maybe 3 minutes left.
I agree.
I mean, you tell me, as a coach, I'm thinking I've given up 36 points in this game. And
yeah, now what yard line was that? We were on what yard line? I can't remember exactly what yard line that was, but I felt like maybe we should go for that.
Well, we were still in our territory, but I mean, I think it was closer to the 40-yard line roughly. But, I mean, there's 3 minutes, Tony, and they have 3 timeouts, okay?
And our defense was playing well. at that time.
So let's give it a shot. I mean, our offense started to click. They scored 3 times, not necessarily in succession, with the previous drives, but they're rolling a little bit. They had 3 scores. And
yeah. Let me pose this question to you, Josh. Do you think D'Antonio would have gone for it if the roles had been reversed and that was Michigan State in that situation?
If he was in the other way,
I think D'Antonio would have definitely gone for it on 4th down.
I think so too. I don't really have any proof, but this is the way I've seen him coach in the years, and everything.
He's a gambler.
Yeah, so I think so. And to be honest, I think if you ask some other D1 coaches that same question, I think they go for it as well. I mean, there's 3 minutes left, 3 timeouts. All they have to do if they don't get is 2 first downs, essentially, and the game's over. I mean, what do you have to lose right now?
Yeah.
Giving the ball away to possibly not get it back at all. So
if
there was about 5 or 6 minutes left, I would probably kick the football, but not with 3 or less. There's no way. I try to go for it.
I have to say I agree with you on that. We're both Monday morning quarterbacks right about now, but man, we had the momentum. I just felt like that was the time where we could have pulled that thing off and won that game.
Yeah, and like you said, we're Monday morning quarterbacks. We have a lot of hindsight is foresight, so touche to their decisions. And even though Coach Kelly is like we said last week, one of the fast 200 wins, they learn things too. And they've been in situations they've never been in before, and maybe that was one of them. And maybe he just had this feeling, and maybe just like some other coaches, they have these different charts that say, you know what, I'm going to get the ball back with this much time left. I'm going to have this many timeouts, and we're going to go that route. We're going to make that decision. But
show some confidence in the guys because they feel that if they see that you have confidence in them and that you're going to give them a chance to prove them right, then that carries over, man. That means all the difference in the world to the players when that coach shows that he has confidence in them, and they build on that. So, but let's keep in mind it's a young team. Notre Dame has a young team this year, and even with Kaiser, last year was the first year that he's ever played a a full season. So that was actually like a freshman year for him. So he's in his second complete year. And he's really improved. And let's just, I think in the second half of the season, if our defense can duplicate what they did in that fourth quarter, then a lot can happen in a college football season, and there's a lot of parity. And I think there can be some big losses, some unexpected losses, and we can start working our way back up in the post. We just need to win.
And that cures everything, right? Winning cures everything, and that'll come. And to those fans, listeners out there, for those Irish players and that team and that program, things will come around. And I know we talked about some things that need to improve on, but there are some great things going on, like we mentioned, and probably even more so than what we talked about. But we move on. We move on. We have to.
Definitely. Oh, and I also wanted to say I was glad to see Torrey Hunter Jr. have a breakout game. He had a pretty serious injury that last game and had to go through the concussion protocol. But so I was sort of surprised to see him out there. But I thought he had a breakout game, and I like to, as a captain, I like to see him continue to grow, and I'd like to see us target St. Brown a little bit more offensively in the passing game. I think he's a really talented receiver as well.
Yeah, I agree about the Torrey Hunter comment you had there. I was actually thinking that as we were talking about the offense, he did have a good game coming back from that concussion, and I was very encouraged by his play and the way he did play.
Right.
Route-making abilities and be able to catch the football in tight spots. So it didn't look like he missed a beat, to be honest with you. So very encouraged by Torrey Hunter Jr.'s return.
Yeah. He played with a lot of passion, and I was glad to see that. And I hope it continues. And just continues to flourish. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
So going on to the Duke Blue Devils at home on Saturday, the 17th, of course, against a team that's 1-2, which is in the same position as us record-wise. And so the Duke Blue Devils, Coach David Cutcliffe, he's been there about 9 years, trying to make that school into a football and basketball program. Obviously, that'll be a tough challenge for him already, as he has known before. But a team that's hungry to win, and I'm sure Coach Cutcliffe and that coaching staff will have them ready. You know, the previous time they played them was in 2007, and they lost to the Irish 28-7. Jimmy Clausen, of course, I know we've talked about him before a little bit in previous games. He had a big day, and the Irish lead the series 3-1. They've only played them 4 times, so things look good on our end as far as who we're playing, what their previous history is with the with football and in general, the Duke Blue Devils and who they played. And I see big things from the offense. And I want you to
I agree.
A little bit, Tony.
Yeah, Duke's out of the ACC conference, which has always been known as a basketball conference, one of the best in the country. But their football program has been improving over the years, and so I'm sure they have some talented guys out there on the football team, and we're going to have to come ready to play. But as I said, I think this will be a great game for the offense to put up some big numbers, get some of those receivers to have 5, 6, 7 catches or better, and run the football. We didn't run it nearly enough against Michigan State. Started to try to get our timing down, running the football, the blocking, and everything. And so it's a good time. It'll be a good game to kind of brush up on some things and get a big win and carry that on to the next game and try to run off about 3 or 4 straight.
Well, some things I think that were going to be important for the Irish they need to pick up where they left off on basically both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. Offensively, because they had that little run where they scored a couple touchdowns in drives and that consistency and getting back to the run game just a little bit, like you said, and making sure that's stabilized because just referring back to what we talked about a couple weeks ago, Coach Kelly wants to have that balanced offense and be able to do what they want to do when they want to do it, which is probably any offensive coordinator's mindset, but more so with this group because of all the weapons we have around Deshaun Kaiser. But along with the defensive side as well, with that picking up where they left off, like we talked about, didn't give up any points in the fourth quarter in Michigan State. And like we said, it seemed like they gelled a little bit better as the game went on, obviously, except for the third quarter, had some breakdowns there. But
yes.
I agree with you, getting the run game established. They have to do that.
Have to do it. You have to do it.
Yeah, it sets the tempo, first of all, and let me give you a scenario, actually an actual situation that happened, not with Notre Dame football, but how the run game can help and essentially punish your opponent. So
yeah,
Jim Harbaugh was it was at Stanford, and him and Pete Carroll, who was at USC at the time, had this furious rivalry against each other, essentially, not necessarily the teams, but against each other for whatever reason. And Jim Harbaugh ran the same running play, 17 times in a row down the field.
Oh my goodness.
In a drive and just punished them. And I think Irish start that trend very soon. That'll help the passing game, obviously, but how demoralizing is that, Tony, to get ran over 17 times in a row in a drive?
Oh, yeah. He's trying to demoralize you. They're trying to demoralize you when they run the football down your throat like that.
Yeah, and so that's my hope. I like passing game, don't get me wrong. The running game can definitely demoralize a team, change the momentum, and put that confidence in your offensive unit. So I think that's important. The stat that I told you earlier, 0 sacks in 3 games, that changes this week. That's
wow. That has to change. Yeah.
They got to get a couple, get some confidence in that D line, in the linebackers, and like if they do blitz from the secondary, that'll cause some havoc. That'll probably bring some fire underneath them. And
oh yeah. And the thing is, in college football, as in the NFL, the teams that you're playing against, they're looking at the film and they're seeing that every team you've played against, you have yet to sack the quarterback. So their game plan coming into the game is going to be to take advantage of the fact that you can't rush the quarterback. So we're going to get a large dose of people trying to throw the football. And we need to do something about it. Defensive coordinators are going to have to get creative, but we're going to have to do something about that.
Yeah, and whatever, if it's technique or scheme or personnel, it needs to be addressed and early and often this week, and just to shore up and get that confidence in those young guys, because if you get young guys that are not confident, that's going to be inside them mentally for a while.
Yeah. That's the worst thing that could happen if you have a young guy losing his confidence and he's not sure that you're confident as a coach. And he's pretty much just kind of stepping into major college football from high school. Man, that could be a dagger to your season. So, give these guys the responsibility of doing some things and take some chances. Rush the quarterback, get after the quarterback, and be a little more creative with that defense. And it'll be interesting for me, too, to see what this defensive line is going to do in this next game. And so I'm looking forward to seeing that, and I'm looking forward to seeing Kaiser continue to develop and get the ball downfield a little bit more. He has some receivers that have a lot of speed, so let's get the ball downfield a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree with that. And you didn't know this about me before, Tony, but I've been a special teams coordinator along as a head coach in the high school level, and so
okay.
it's important to me. And when I saw the kickoff return for a touchdown, I was so excited because I was like, that can set the tone for both the offense and the defense.
Definitely.
Both sides, and they get, they feel like they're free in the sense that they can just play football without the score and things like that. So I hope that if it's a kickoff return or a punt or whatever it is, that changes the momentum in favor of the Irish, obviously, so that both those units, essentially offense and defense, will feel that free mentality, I guess, and be able to not worry and feel stressed about them having to make plays for them to win.
Right. You can't play football like that. The best games I've ever played in, I was out there having fun, carefree and just having fun, enjoying the moment. And that's what these kids need to do. They need to have fun with football, like they did in high school. Same thing. It's a bigger scale in college, but it's just playing football. Go out there and do what you know how to do, and success will come. Success will come.
Absolutely, especially there. So, going to our next segment of our show, the 3 toughest picks of the week. I'm sad to say, but you're in the lead now. You're 4-2 overall. I made some silly picks last week because I wanted to see if I can jump up ahead of you.
You know what? With as crazy as this season has turned out, I'm surprised to be 4-2 right now. Louisville is I thought they'd be a pretty good team, but man, I think they jumped up in the polls. I think they're getting some number 1 consideration right now. I think they jump up to 3, is it? They jump up to 3?
Yeah,
but
they're in the top 5, and their quarterback, Lamar Jackson. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. I don't know what else to say besides what an athlete. And I don't follow Louisville football, but I know someone told me this weekend that he didn't even play quarterback last year. He was So
unbelievable athlete. Unbelievable. Yeah. But Charlie Strong, when he left Louisville, he had built up a pretty good program there. So they had a lot of athletes. So when this new coach came in, the numbers weren't there. He had a lot of talent to work with, and he's a great recruiter. So it's paying off in spades for him this year. No question about it. Louisville is a force to be reckoned with right about now.
Yeah, and I wouldn't want to be any of the opponents playing them, that's for sure.
Whoa, yeah, that's going to be interesting.
It will be. And I don't know if you heard my record, which I'd rather not say, but I have to because, well, I got to own up to my mistakes. I'm 3-3, Tony, so I'm a game behind you.
So you're batting 500. You're batting 500.
In baseball and softball, that's a good percentage, but not in choosing football games or anything.
Especially not if you're betting on the game. So.
Yeah, just getting your money back. That feels good, sort of. That's like a tie in soccer or something. Anyway, I digress. So the 3 toughest picks of the week. The first game is they're all ranked teams, by the way, again. So in some big games, really, there's more to choose from this week. But the first one we chose is number 12, Georgia, at number 23, Ole Miss. So Ole Miss has another huge game against another big opponent as they played Alabama last week and really should have won that game. But they played Georgia this week at home. Who are you choosing, Tony? Georgia at Ole Miss?
Well, I tell you, that's a tough one. Let me see. Ole Miss just lost to Alabama. Alabama beat them convincingly at home. So now Ole Miss, they're really backed into a corner, and I'm going to say Ole Miss is going to come to play in this one because they're desperate, and I want to go with Ole Miss in this one.
Okay. All right. Well, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Georgia's first-year head coach is Kirby Smart from Alabama. And
Okay.
So that background being said, and the things that he's changed for the better at Georgia, I'm going to go with Georgia on the road. I know I'm going against you quite a bit, Tony. It hasn't seemed to work, but I'm still dumb enough to keep doing it.
I'll tell you what. I didn't know that. I didn't know that he was an assistant at Alabama. So one thing's for sure, he has the Alabama game plan in hand, and he's going to be using it against Ole Miss when they go down there to play.
No doubt about that, for sure. I agree with you. So we have the second game. It's a similar foe, Michigan State. They're number 8 now, and they're playing at home against number 11 Wisconsin. So Wisconsin's coming in, Big Ten game, playing at Michigan State, number 8. I'll start this one. These two teams always have a battle back and forth, and they both run the football well. They establish the run well. They do have some pretty decent skill receivers on both sides. I don't know Wisconsin's defense that well, and that's the deciding factor for me. I'm going to choose Michigan State because of their defense. And so,
okay, you know what? I'm going to have to agree with you on that because I played Michigan State at home and I played them at Notre Dame. They're totally different. And I mean, for 4 years we did this. They're a totally different team when you play them at home. I mean, and they're coming off a big win against Notre Dame, so their confidence should be sky high. I think they'll be ready at home, and I think they'll beat Wisconsin, but we'll see.
Okay. So that we got 2 of the 3 games done here. We have our last third game, our final game of the toughest picks of the week. It's a SEC game again. It's number 19 Florida at number 14 Tennessee. So some pretty good games in the past, especially in the 90s. I can remember Peyton Manning and I believe Danny Warfel, and Coach Spurrier was at Florida then. And I can't remember Tennessee's coach offhand. He was a pretty good coach there. Wish I could think of that right now. But I'm going to let you start with this game. Number 19 Florida at number 14 Tennessee. Who you got, Tony?
You know what? I like Tennessee at home. They packed that place at Raymond James Stadium. I remember when I played, they packed in about 81,000 people, and they come to play at home. And I think they'll have a sold-out stadium, and I think Tennessee wins this one.
Okay, so you got Tennessee. We talked about this in previous games. I think when you actually played against Tennessee, and how I think you just spoke about how they packed the stadium and seeing that orange color there, and it's just full out orange spree.
I think I saw orange for about a week after that. I saw so much burnt orange, or what is that? Whatever, the volunteer orange. I mean. And where the stadium sits, it was isolated, and it's a big stadium, 81,000 people, and man, that place was packed. So I'll never forget it.
Yeah, and I have a couple of friends that are Florida Gator fans, and if they're listening, I'm sorry because I'm picking Tennessee as well. I'm with you. The pressure's on them as well. And Coach Butch Jones, because they have a great recruiting class that come in the last couple of years, and now the pressure's on them to start winning and start being successful. So
yeah. He coached at Cincinnati. Butch Jones was also at the University of Cincinnati, and he was very successful over at UC, as was Mike D'Antonio up at Michigan State. But when he left Cincinnati, Butch Jones, he went down to Tennessee. And he's always been a great recruiter, and I think he's doing a fantastic job down there as far as getting talent and speed especially on campus down there.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I remember him being up here at the University of Cincinnati and doing well too. So it seems like that's the trend with UC coaches. They do well and then they leave and they become more successful even elsewhere. So
Exactly. A lot of people here in Cincinnati are still mad at Coach Kelly for the way he left, but I don't blame him. I'm not mad at him. I was glad to see him take the Notre Dame job, and how could you turn a job like that down? He couldn't turn that job down, so I'm glad to have him at Notre Dame.
Yeah, there's no way. If you ask 100 people, 99, if not 100 of them, they would have done the same thing. So
absolutely.
So I have the next portion is upset of the week. It's an SEC game. I'm still shaky on LSU and what's going on with them, and really the past couple of years. But they're number 18 in the nation. They go play at Auburn. It's an SEC game, so you throw out the rankings, the record, and so on, and I think Auburn pulls this one out as an upset of the week version for us. So.
Okay. I'm going to go against you on that one. I think they have the best running back. LSU has the best running back in the country, and I'm looking for them to have a breakout game. And so we'll see. I've seen LSU I've seen them play in parts, not a whole game, but I think that Heisman candidate is ready to have a breakout game, and so I'm going with LSU at Auburn.
Okay. All right. I see how you are. You're going to pick on me because you already beat me with the record of the 3 toughest picks, and you're going to rub it in. I got it, Tony. I'm just kidding.
That can change at any time. This is a crazy season so far. So.
Yeah. So all right. You have LSU, you have Auburn. Probably one of the most important times of our show, the prediction time for the Irish game. I'm going to go first this time. I think it's going to be a blowout. I think that they're going to come in. They've practiced hard all week. They've been refocused, so to speak, on what their job is and their position group and things like that. And I think they're going to come out and run the table 49-17 is what I have.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I would love to see them put up 49 points offensively. And to hold them to 17, that would be excellent.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a little less conservative, but I think it'll be high scoring offensively for Notre Dame. I think we're going to put up 38 points. I'll say 38-14. Notre Dame wins.
Okay. All right. So we have some scores that are pretty high scoring for the offense, and as we should, because we see that talent every week. We know what they're capable of, and of course the play calling seems to be pretty on spot for the most part. So yeah, I agree. 38. You said 38-14. Is that correct?
Yeah, 38-14.
Okay. So.
And that's. I have my fingers crossed that the defense will show up and put in that type of effort to hold them to 14. I almost said 31. I almost felt that they would put up 21 to 28 points. But I'm going to stay with 14. I'm going to stay positive, and I think our defense will hold them to 14 points this week. We need that.
Okay. I'm with you. I hope so too. And so we both got the Irish winning this week, of course. We've talked about some things with the game against Duke. I have a fact. I'm not going to say a fun fact because it's not a great fact when it comes to the Irish, but it's a fact for the finish. I'm not going to say fun fact for the finish this time. So
okay.
The fact that I found was the last time they went 1-3. Heaven forbid they do that now this year, which I don't think they will. But the last time they were 1-3 was Kelly's first season, actually, back in 2010. And so
that was Kelly's first season.
Yeah, it was Kelly's first season. They were 1-3 starting out. I can't remember the actual opponents, but not a good start to Kelly's regime there. But obviously that changed pretty quickly. So if it's a fact. It's not fun, but it's something to think about. Hopefully that doesn't happen on this Saturday.
Definitely, I hope that doesn't happen. Man, it could be a really long season if that happens, but I don't think it will. I think we'll ride the momentum from that fourth quarter that we had against Michigan State, playing Notre Dame football, and we'll come out of the tunnel against Duke, and we'll continue to play that type of football. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited to see how they rebound from that loss. So I don't have any final thoughts. I think I've given as much insight as I could. My brain can hold. Tony, do you have any other insight or anything you want to talk about when it comes to Irish playing Duke this week?
The only thing I would say is let's stay positive, Irish. Let's stay positive and give these kids a chance to go out there and prove themselves, and I think they will. I think Notre Dame breeds champions, and that environment, I think they'll turn it around and they'll start playing Notre Dame football. So I'm with them.
Good deal. Folks, that's a wrap for our show this week on Irish Football Weekly. Don't forget to check out our website, thegruelingtruth.net. We have tons of different shows on there besides ours, Irish Football Weekly. Tony has a Los Angeles Rams football show he does as well, and I also have a podcast, The Real Deal. And those are all on there with tons of other shows involving different sports, football, baseball, boxing. And so check those out and give a listen. Some great insight from other podcasters and radio show hosts. So check those out. You can check them out, just like I said before, on Stitcher, Spreaker, Google Music, iTunes, and the now iHeartRadio license we got with him. So to my co-host, Tony Hunter, this is Josh Benjamin signing off for Irish Football Weekly. As usual, go Irish. Peace.